I may still be considering a number of things, but I do know where I land on this. Another week and yet again another headline that seems to rip at the core of American values. Last week, the airways were filled once again with discussions surrounding immigration, finger pointing from both the left and the right, and the American citizen finding themselves in front of a distinctive line in which pundits will tell us we must choose on which side to stand. If you're with President Trump and you're his supporter, you cite law and order. And if you're not, you cite human rights. We no longer live in an America where we can have legitimate conversations. Rather, we find ourselves in a state where my belief in one thing means my emphatic opposition to another. For my friends that scream human rights, I understand and agree. It's unconscionable to think that a child can be torn away from a parent. But at the same time, perhaps we should have a real conversation about a physical barrier to encourage those seeking asylum to do so through more manageable locations rather than porous ones. Increased security measures, both diplomatic and physical, won't solve all of our immigration problems, but they do allow us to begin managing them more effectively. And for my friends on the right that scream law and order, I would ask you this: does the punishment really fit the crime? Not just for the parent, but also for the child. Let's take a moment and envision a life so much better than the one we have now, and all we had to do was walk across the street to get it. Even if there was a no trespassing sign, it would be hard not to take the chance, especially if it meant a better life for our kids. As a parent, there is no worse feeling or punishment than having your child taken from you. And as a child, we can only begin to imagine the mental anguish of being surrounded by those you don't know, in a place you're not familiar, without the comfort or protection of your parents. I understand that the law says you're not welcome unless you follow the steps, but maybe let's consider for a moment a couple things regarding those seeking a better life. First, let's consider just for a moment that those in the third world may not know all the parameters of U.S. law. And second, perhaps even if they did know the law, they likely believe that the champion of human rights throughout the world, the United States, wouldn't take away their kids for the crime of wanting to provide a better life for them. Ronald Reagan, a man that I greatly admire, spoke of America as a shining city on a hill. A place, he said, that if it had walls, it would also have doors open to anyone with a will and a heart to get here. I fear that the no-tolerance actions we are taking today have dimmed the light of our shining city, but it's my hope that those with power to impact change will do so in a manner worthy of the greatness with which our country has so long been associated. It's time for us to come together, be what we have always been, a place of refuge, a place where the tired, poor, and huddled masses yearning to be free were welcomed and given an opportunity for the life those of us born here were so blessed to have received. And one final thought for Attorney General Sessions. I too am a man of faith, and while I understand the desire to quote Scripture in your own context and infuse our mutual faith into the conversation, I'll remind you that the Pharisees were also known to quote Scripture in an attempt to serve their narrative and reject Christ's message of love. With that, I'll share with you my own context of the words of Christ. Let the children come to me. Scriptures tell us of the story of a young Jesus fleeing his homeland with his parents to nearby foreign country to escape oppression and seek asylum. It's a good thing Egypt didn't have America's no-tolerance policies. If it had, then where would we be? Finding myself somewhere in the middle, I'm Seth Denson.